and let us all do we can to build a better future.
It's hard to describe this story because I'm still coming to terms with what I saw and the fact that no one in their right mind decided to fact check or look into people's backgrounds. I'm surprised by the actions of a foreign government, of how the media has been covering it, and just overall what really happened in the aftermath of the Second World War. Because let's be clear here, and I'm just going to bring it down simply in regards to the Second World War and just how things are viewed. Yes, the Second World War is extremely complicated with many, many issues that led up to the beginning stages of that conflict. But I think it's fair enough to say, by using Saturday morning cartoon logic, that we know that the Axis powers, most notably the Nazis, were the bad guys. I think we could universally agree. This isn't open for a debate or discussion, right? I think we all could say, like, yep, they're the bad guys. It's almost as black and white as it can get for all the complex wars and historical situations that humanity has been on this planet we call Earth. But I think we could universally agree. Axis powers, using Saturday morning logic, they're the bad guys. Agreed? Let's have democracy in chat. Let's have democracy in chat. Just type one, like, no, kid, it's more nuanced than that. Type two, like, no, they were the bad guys. Simple as that. 1, 2, 3. They were the bad guys. Okay. So I think we're all a little bit shocked when Canada. What are you doing? I know America screws up, but Jesus, F and F. Yeah. Are you looking into people? Because explain this to me. Canadian Parliament applauds Nazi Waffen SS veteran. So this dude was part of Ukrainian volunteers during the Second World War. Again, the 1st Galician Division. It's blamed for multiple atrocities against the Polish people. So, hey, everybody's favorite dude who needs money, who dresses like a homeless guy, Ukraine's president and Canada's prime minister greeted a former member of the infamous SS 1st Galician Division, which fought for the Nazis in World War II. Right? As they attend a parliament session in Ottawa, according to images shared by the Associated Press. One of the photos taken in the House of Commons on Friday showed a smiling Vladimir Zelensky clenching his fist and Justin Trudeau offering applause to somebody outside the image. Well, who are they talking about? What's going on? Well, hey, let's first pull up this tab here, because this gentleman right here is the Canadian Parliament Speaker. Here, see it for yourselves.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
Now, hold on. Now, listen. This may come as a shock to a lot of people, but it was around that time when the Ukrainians, or at least that little volunteer group that were fighting off against the Russians, just so everyone knows, Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union at the time. So it wasn't just Russia, it was the Soviet Union as a whole. And this may blow your mind. I hope you're sitting down, but the Soviets were our allies with Great Britain, the French resistance, the United States of America, and everyone else that was part of the alliance, the allies, to stop Hitler and his horrible, horrible friends. And this 98-year-old douchebag is getting a ceremony and applause in the Canadian Parliament. Okay. Did anyone do a background check? Did anyone open up a history book just to kind of look into, well, wait a minute, during the Second World War, who are you fighting against, and who were you with? Why do you have that weird flag and that awful symbol right there? You see that symbol inside the interior mansion of Walt Disney. I mean, oops. No one wants to talk about Walt Disney and how much he was a fan of first name Adolf, last name Hitler. I just want to pull this up here because I just want to look at the applause for a second. Everyone's standing up, right? I want to pull up this tweet here real quick. Hopefully I could find it. Shout out to this person, Laurie Spencer. When the entire Canadian Parliament stood up to applaud a Waffen-SS Ukrainian Nazis, my eyes scanned the chamber for one, just one, who might have the courage to resist. Sadly, no one remained seated. No one refused to clap. See that guy right there? A lot of liberals, a lot of SJW activists wish they could be that person. All those resistance fighters, all those people who were triggered by Trump or hate Russia because BS DNC, Keith Olbermann or Rachel Maddow told you to. To all those people who are triggered and have Trump and Putin or anybody else that challenges them critically living rent-free in your head, you will never be that person there. Let's take a good long look at that audience again. You see anyone sitting down? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious Cretaceous. You don't.
His name is Yaroslav Hunka. And I was going to say he's in the gallery, but I think you beat me to that. But I'm very proud to say that he is from North Bay and from my riding of Nipissing-Temiskaming. He's a Ukrainian hero, a Canadian hero, and we thank him for all his service. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, get up. Dance. Applause. No one did a background check. These are the people in government. No one's doing a background check at all. No one decided to look into anything, right? Just took it at face value. Yeah? Didn't think the internet was going to talk about it? Here's something we retweeted. Again, the world is beyond curse from Hard Lens Media. A 90-year-old was given a standing ovation by the Canadian Parliament during Zelensky's speech. He was hailed as a hero fighting against the Russians. Yaroslav Hunk fought for the 14th Division of the Waffen-SS. Look at that guy. Here, let's see him firsthand.
For Ukrainian independence against the Russians during the Second World War.
Oh, there he is. Look at that.
Zelensky's speech received at least a dozen.
I mean, why is everyone's applauding this man? Jesus Christ, this war's gone on long enough.
Standing ovations. There was also one for this man.
He's like, Mein Führer, the mission is success. We have converted the Allies.
98-year-old Ukrainian Canadian who fought for Ukrainian independence against the Russians during the Second World War.
Just want to pull this up here from Lives of TikTok. The Canadian Parliament, along with Justin Trudeau and Zelensky, actually cheered an actual Nazi SS officer. These are the people who called the brave Canadian truckers Nazis and said Hong Kong was called for Heil Hitler. Yeah, so you may not remember this, folks, but remember those truckers, those protesters, right? Canadian government were calling them Nazis and alt-right and bad men. And when they honked their trucks, they were secretly giving a Sieg Heil. The first name Adolf, last name Hitler. I want to pull up this tab here as well. Let's bring some common sense into the video.
Now, as they rose as one man and woman to applaud Yaroslav Hunka, aged 98? Did the words "fought the Russians during World War II" not ring even the smallest of bells?
I mean, when I heard that, I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. I mean, fought against the Russians. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm I hate to be the person to point it out, but there was only like one group that was really fighting against the Soviets at the time, and it was this little country, you never heard of it, Germany. They were calling themselves Nazi Germany at the time, and yeah, they invaded the Soviets in 1941, caused a lot of trouble. So if you're with those bad guys, then yeah, it does cause a couple people to question. Wait a minute, then doesn't that make you a Nazi supporter? Yes, no, yes. Gonna go with the yeah, it does.
In the thickest of skulls, amongst these maniacs on their feet, applauding with North Korean levels of vivacity, this man who fought the Russians in World War II, did it not occur to them that that meant he was a member of the Nazi army fighting the Russians during World War II? Did it not occur to them that they were on the same side as the Russians in World War II? That Canada, that Britain, that America, and Russia were allies during World War II. So how can you feverishly applaud a man who the Speaker of the House introduces as someone who fought the Russians during World War II, even if they didn't know that he was Yaroslav Hunka of the 14th Division of the same SS that murdered Canadian prisoners in the sand dunes on the beach of Juno in Normandy in 1945, even if they didn't realize that the Galician SS, of which Yaroslav was a member and from which is a fugitive from war crime charges, did it not occur to them?
And the answer is no, because people have Trump and Russia derangement syndrome. The world is truly cursed. It is insane. I've finally come to terms with just how maddening it is, and I've accepted it. The world is horribly flawed, and it just goes to show you that even the worst of us will eventually be cheered and applauded as a hero. Now, again, to my audience in Canada, because only you guys can verify this, but I want to acknowledge somebody in the live stream chat. Kashami Kate tipped $5 on Rockfin. Kit, I listened to CBC coverage of this event. CBC says that this is an arm of Russian propaganda machine calling out this 90-year-old. To my Canadian audience, is that or is that not true? Because I have to say, it is. I mean, again, let's find out who they are. Anyways, the 1st Galician Division was assembled by the Nazis in 1943 when the Soviet Union was gaining the upper hand on the Eastern Front. That's right, the Soviets were pushing back. It comprised of 80,000 volunteers, mainly Ukrainians from the region of Galicia, spanning what is now southwest Poland and western Ukraine. The infamous unit participated in brutal anti-guerrilla operations across Poland and Soviet Ukraine, and were accused of massacres and other atrocities against Polish, Jewish, and Russian civilian populations. It was crushed by the Red Army in July 1944 and soon rebranded as the Ukrainian National Army before surrendering to the Western Allies after the fall of Berlin in May 1945. After the war, some of the members of the 1st Galician Division fled to Canada, which has a large Ukrainian diaspora. During his speech to the Canadian Parliament, Zelensky said Canada's always been on the bright side of history during previous wars and thanked Trudeau's government for the support it had provided to Ukraine amid a conflict with Russia. Again. Seriously, I'll never forget when corporate media said, hey, Ukraine, you got to hide those questionable Third Reich symbols, those Nazi symbols, because you're making it hard for us to lie for you. Here, I want to pull up this article here from Max Blumenthal. It's a tweet from Max Blumenthal. Pretty sure we cannot when we are arming the literal Nazis who fight on the front lines of Ukraine's military. Here's a contemporary Azov battalion paying homage to Ukraine's World War II era Galicia SS division. Hey, there's a Galicia division right there. Click copy paste. What on earth? It's so shocking and suspicious. What has happened here? Now, here's what I find interesting from Political, though. Nazi-linked veteran received ovation during Zelensky's Canada visit. Listen, whether Nazi-adjacent, Nazi-linked, Nazi-supported, there's a problem with that statement, all right? The key word is Nazi. Those aren't the good guys. They are the bad guys, okay? Just breaking it down simply. They are the bad guys. Just throwing it out there. And again, throughout the entire Canadian Parliament, when the entire Canadian Parliament stood up to applaud the Waffen-SS Ukrainian Nazi, my eyes scanned the chamber for one, just one who might have the courage to resist. Sadly, no one remained seated. No one refused to clap. No one clapped. I mean, no one, again, there you go. People were all just clapping. So again, remember when I said that the Canadian Parliament viewed the truckers as bad guys? Here, remember this? Here's a member of the Canadian Parliament yelling at Canadian truckers just a while back.
How much vitriol do we have to see of honk honk, which is an acronym for Hail Hitler?
Well, it could just be honk honk, hey, us truckers are being screwed over. Honk honk, honk honk, support us, honk your horn. Here, that was so stupid. I'm going to let you listen to that again.
How much vitriol do we have to see of honk honk, which is an acronym for Hail Hitler, do we need to see by these protesters on social media?
By these protesters? But see, we like protesters when they do things we want them to do. Here, that was so dumb. Third time's a charm. You got to hear it again. An elected official in Canada said that. And there were people here, even the good old US of A, who were saying that too. But yet they literally applauded a Waffen SS officer. We live in a clown world.
How much vitriol do we have to see of honk honk, which is an acronym for Hail Hitler, do we need to see by these protesters on social media? How much vitriol?
God, so stupid. But hey, I think some people are becoming self-aware because this just recently happened. The Canadian Parliament Speaker regrets honoring Ukrainian Nazi SS veteran. So remember that guy who gave that little speech? Canadian House Commons Speaker Anthony Rota has apologized for honoring a Ukrainian man who served in Adolf Hitler's Waffen SS forces during the Second World War, calling him a Ukrainian and Canadian hero. Because he's a hero. Again, said hero was part of the 14th Galician Division, SS, was given a standing ovation. You know, again, everyone from Zelensky to Trudeau were there. And here's little Anthony's little apology. On Friday, September 22nd, in my remarks following the address of the president of Ukraine, I recognized an individual in the gallery. I have subsequently become aware of more information which causes me to regret my decision to do so. Gee, did you ever consider the fact that maybe, I don't know, maybe fighting the Russians fighting the Soviets during the Second World War might have rung a bell. I particularly want to extend my deepest apologies to the Jewish communities in Canada and around the world. I accept full responsibility for my actions. Again, the Friends of Simon Westonhall Center advocacy group said it was incredibly disturbing to see Canada's parliament rise to applaud an individual who was a member of a unit in the Waffen SS, a Nazi military branch responsible for the murder of Jews and others that was declared a criminal organization during the Nuremberg trials. So I guess people are becoming self-aware. After all, social media will never let you forget. But we live in a clown world. We live in a world where people are just turning a blind eye to everything that might make them feel uncomfortable. Now, I get it. I understand a lot of liberals and people are triggered by Trump or Putin or everything else, but this war has gone on for too long. This war is the imagery of stupidity. This war is a waste of time. And now we're witnessing Western powers honor members of the Third Reich. I never thought I'd live to see the day. I never thought I'd live to see the day where people lost their ability to think critically. If this doesn't enrage you, I don't know what to tell you. I, for one, am deeply, deeply disturbed by the actions of these elected officials. And I think it's evidence enough for all of us to finally come to terms and agreement that the war must end. Because after all, how much more must we endure? How much insanity and hypocrisy must we witness until we say enough is enough?